What is up, guys? It is iGeekDJ here, back with a video. In today's video, I'm be showing you guys how to just guaranteed win your solo matches. Doesn't matter if it's solo arena, solo pubs, you will be able to win the majority of your games with this strategy. If you guys please find these tips useful, make sure to like and subscribe, and we're just gonna get straight on to the tips. Okay, so your first rule of thumb is going to be to find a drop spot. If you are a beginner player, I recommend finding one spot and sticking to it if you're playing for the win. If you are more of an advanced or intermediate player, I recommend grabbing 3 drop spots, 2 hot drops, and 1 cold spot, just so you can switch it up, you know. If you want to land hot, go for 20s, you can. If you want to go cold, you can. Anyways, you want to make sure that before you leave your POI or before you take a fight, you have these 2 things, and that is shotguns and shields. If you do not have a shotgun, you won't be able to shoot people and set up really good peaks without taking damage. And shields is because you want to be able to protect your white health off spawn, because you're not going to have enough time to pop a med kit off spawn. Okay, it's just, fights are really fast. Next thing. Okay, so the next thing of your focus is either to win your off-spawn fight, if you have one, or just to loot up. Normally I could recommend the people that I'm coaching, I usually recommend them to grab at least double heals and whatever guns they usually prefer. If you prefer the double shot, auto, striker, go for it. I prefer striker, hammer, so it can carry 3 heals. I don't have to carry the SMG, but if you guys want to carry the SMG, by all means go for it. It's personal preference on loadouts, but make sure when you're at your POI, before you leave your POI, that you at least have 400 of each material. Try to cap it as much as you can. Try to cap each material. But your next rule of thumb is gonna be the mid game. Mid game, you're gonna obviously this is where your mid fights are gonna come into play. You want to take fights on dead side, and if you're going to be taking fights, take them on dead side, so that way it minimizes the chance of you getting third partied. And if you do, it's more delayed. Like right here in this example, you're going to see the third party come later. But also, you want to minimize your mid game engagements. Reasoning is because the more engagements or fights you take, you're going to risk dying more often. As you know, you'll risk running into a really good player, or you'll risk trying to having to fight against a console kid who just wants to jump in your box with a gold stinger. By all means, go for it. But I'm just gonna say this: try to minimize the amount of fights you take. Now, once first zone closes, second zone opens, third zone opens, you want to be rotating dead side as fast as possible. Dead side is the side with the least amount of players in the zone, and you could see right here that there is literally no one where I'm at. And how you can tell where dead side is, there's going to be no POIs on that side of zone, or there's going to be a small amount of POIs on that zone. Now, if you can't find dead side because of the center zone, usually I'll recommend players to go center of zone, because there's going to be not as much action. Or edge, you just gotta look around where the players are and go the exact opposite direction. Now, if you're an intermediate and advanced player and you want to take a fight, go for it. Just know you will up your chances of dying. So if you want to win, you want to lessen your chances of taking fights. So right here you can see I'm just chilling on edge because there's literally no one here. You don't want to settle down. Okay, if you're gonna bush camp, go for it. I don't bush camp here because I am confident in my fighting abilities, but I would not recommend a camp because you will not get better at the game. You want to be able to take fights on edge. Even if it's one player and you might die, it's better to get better at fighting players. Even if it's like 1 player, 2 player, you want to take those fights. Even though you risk dying, you still want to get better at taking those fights, okay? But just stay here on edge. It's actually really chill playing like this. Now, note you might get bored playing like this. Sometimes if you go for hours trying to play for the win, you will get bored. Just note that. But try to it will get boring. Just, you know, try to manage your boredom. So now you can see here fourth zone pulls, and this is where players start to box up. I obviously, looking at fourth zone, it's a lot smaller than third. You could see where the players are. I'm obviously going to be rotating the spot with the least amount of players. There's only one person to my right now, or he's going to be in front of me. But I'm on a side where, again, there's like 0 to no players alive there, or there's just spot based up there, you know. And this is what you want to keep on doing for the rest of the game. You want to go into spots or stay in the spot where you have little to no players, okay? And this is how you're going to minimize your chances of taking fights. If you go into a spot where there's a lot of players, a lot of build fights, you're going to maximize the chances of you getting into a fight. Whereas if you were to, right here, example, you were to rotate right here, there's no one here, so I'm guaranteed to just chill out. Also, this is going to be an example as why you rotate early. You always want to make sure that you're rotating somewhat early. The previous 2 examples I rotated late because I had all the time in the world, but once players start to stack up, you want to rotate early because you don't want to get held. If you rotate early, the only exception to not rotating early is if there is someone in front of you and zones in front of them. You want to wait for them to rotate, but as soon as they rotate, you follow them. You want to use the player that's in front of you for their builds, but if you wait too long, you're gonna get held. And this example is a prime example as why you're gonna rotate early. You're gonna see there's a kid in Neo, and there's gonna be a kid to my right that's using my old builds. The kid to my right that's using my old builds, right concept, just wrong timing. He rotated too late. The kid in Neo, he's trying to shoot the kid that's on my right. I end up cracking him because he was 150. You can see right here, rotates too late. Don't be scared to rotate. Even if you don't know how to rotate, go for it. I don't care if you're scared. I don't care if you're not a good player. Just go for it and you'll learn your mistakes. See right there, the player gets DMR'd by Neo tilted, and I'm gonna crack the kid Neo tilted. But you want to rotate early once the players start to stack up like this, because you don't want to get held up. People will beam you like I just did right there. I'm just holding these 2. The reason, okay, and then this guy starts trying to push me. If you're gonna play playing for the win, play for height. That means anytime you see a player trying to take height, you gotta fight for it, okay? You gotta fight for it. You cannot be scared. You gotta assert your dominance here. So 6 zone pulls, and I do a rinse, wash, and repeat of the previous few zones. I'm rotating on the side of zone where players are. So yeah, look through my build there to see where the players are. I can also hear them, and I go with the side of zone where there's no players, right? I get this re-rotate. I don't rotate on top of the mountain. I rotate on the side of the mountain because I can use the side of the mountain as cover. Then once, obviously, since I'm rotating early, the kid that was behind me is rotating extremely late, which is extremely lazy. I get to set up on high ground here, and I'm able to win the game from here on out. This is where I say you gotta be decent at fighting in order to win. You gotta be able to know how to fight, or else you're just not gonna be able to win your ones. When I'm meaning your ones, like the 1v1 last player, you and the last player, you gotta be able to win that 1v1, obviously. If you can't win that 1v1, you're not gonna be able to win your games. Which is why it's important to practice 1v1 build fights, 1v1 box fights. Make sure that you know, and zone wars. Make sure that you're playing your 32-man zone wars, 40-man zone wars, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3 zone wars, so that way you practice for these scenarios. And yeah, I'm just gonna let this game play out, and you guys watch it, this last 1v1, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you find these tips useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.